Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the launch of the Cricket Wales Under-19s 100 Ball Cup. This is our club Zoom to give information to all clubs with regards to this brand new competition this summer. We will spend about an hour and have question and answers at the end. So if you can collate your questions, and we can have an open forum at the end and answer any questions that you wish to go through. The Under-19s 100 Ball Cup is an exciting venture this summer because, you know, the 100 Cup across the franchises is being launched, and we'll be lucky enough to try this out in front of that. Alongside me tonight, I've got Peter Williams from the ACO, and we've been working hard in the background creating the rules for the competition because of the slightly different format. Peter will take over the presentation in about 5 to 10 minutes time and talk through the way that the competition rules are set out and how you can play the game. But I'll go through some of the back office information with the competition. At the bottom of the screen, you can see two website addresses. First one's linked to our own Cricket Wales website, and we have our dedicated page for the Under-19s 100 Ball there. You can navigate that by going to the main bar, play, participate, Under-19s 100 Ball, and we'll be providing regular updates on that page. And we also have the rules on there and the sort of competition format. The second website is the ECB Play Cricket centralized website where we create all of our fixtures. This year we have 6 zones set up, and then the teams go through to a national knockout towards the end of the summer. All of the fixtures are uploaded onto Play Cricket already, and they should be on your own club websites as well. So tonight we'll just go through the format of the competition on how we've created it this summer. We'll discuss the groups, the playing window, so our time this summer that we'll play the competition, and then I'll pass over to Peter with the rules. So the format this summer is our 100 rules. On the Play Cricket Scorer app, it's already been set up, so the games are set up as a 100 ball format. It's designed for over 15s and under-19s on September the 1st, 2020, just like any other age group that we have. We try not to encourage under 15s because we want to try to target the age range where there's a potential dropout of cricket. And similarly, we're looking for inclusivity. So, you know, we don't really want clubs to load their sides with all of their Welsh players and all of their academy players. And I don't think that would be the case. Even though it is a competition, it's still about getting youngsters out and giving them an opportunity to play cricket where they might not have the opportunity to do so. We have zonal group fixtures, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a second, and then the winners of those groups and our top 2 other teams go through to Wales quarterfinals. We play quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then we've got a Welsh final. If possible, it would be really beneficial if you can score on Play Cricket, because your points and your net run rates are really important in deciding who those winners are in the groups. It's preferential that we go with a pink ball, and coloured clothing is preferred, but that isn't a requirement to play in the competition. So from the first communication I sent out, I've had some feedback from the Southwest and Pembrokeshire area with regards to the distance that they travel, potentially for their groups. So we've adjusted those, and we will clarify those with all of those teams so they're happy to do so. So we have 6 zonal groups, Southeast 1, 2, Southwest Group 1. As you can see, there's 5 teams in each of those groups, and everybody will play each other once. So each group has 4 games. So that might be just what you, most likely you'll get 2 home games and 2 away games. And then we have our 3 other groups. So Southwest Group 2 has got 4 teams. So in that scenario, everybody will play each other once and then get to play another team on a second occasion to make up that 4th fixture. Pembrokeshire and North have 2 teams, and they'll be playing each other home and away twice. So we've got 6 zonal groups, 4 games per team during the group window, and the winners of the group progress to the quarterfinals, and the best placed 2 remaining teams qualify based on points and then net run rate. And they could come from any one of those other 6 groups. Our designated play-in window is June the 25th to July the 23rd for our group games. However, those dates are only being put into Play Cricket as nominal dates, and you'll probably see that they're Fridays. Now that doesn't really matter. You can change those dates to suit yourself and the team that you're playing. And although we've put a start date as June the 25th, you can start playing as soon as you're ready to do so. So if you want to play next week or the week after and get started, that is more than acceptable. We do need to get the group fixtures finished by July the 23rd to progress the competition through the quarterfinals by August the 1st, semi-finals by August the 8th. And then we've organised our final this year on August the 13th at Ynys Tower Cricket Club. They've got an exciting arrangement there now where they are able to live stream the game, and we'll be able to publish the live game across our network so people can watch the game from wherever they are, especially if we're not allowed to have spectators of certain numbers at the ground. So this is a great way that the final can be broadcasted. The other reason why we have targeted August the 13th is because Welsh Fire are playing their last fixture in Cardiff on August the 18th. And there's a potential link with the 100, whether or not that is representatives from the teams attending or merchandise for the finalist teams. It's yet to be decided, but it's a great opportunity to dovetail with the 100 competition. So our playing rules. So I'm going to stop my screen share for now, and I'm going to pass it on to Peter, and he'll go through the playing rules. And I do agree that we have taken about 3 or 4 weeks to set this up, and Peter is very thorough, and we really do appreciate his support with this. Hopefully some of these rules aren't required and everything just gets played, but Peter has tried to simplify and cover all of the aspects of any delayed games or rain delays, etc. So Peter, the floor's over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Right, evening, gentlemen. Yeah, what we've actually done is taken what might be described as the national rules, which have got some fairly detailed complications in them, and we've extracted some of the complications on the basis that a lot of these games are probably going to be self-officiated. So we've tried to make it as straightforward. So what I'm going to do is rattle through a quick summary of the rules, which I think Mark has already circulated. If you've got any questions, in fact, as far as the rules are concerned, probably easier if you flag them up as we go along. So please feel free to shout. So, right, fairly obviously, it's 100 competitions, so it's 100 balls, so it's 25 ball overs. So everything that in normal cricket says an over is 6 balls, for this purpose, it's 5. 2 overs from each end and then change ends. That's an attempt to try and speed things up a bit. And also a full match is obviously 20 overs, 20 times 5 is 100. If it has to be reduced because of weather reasons, and I'll come to that in more detail further on, then the minimum is 10 overs per side. It might be that one side has more than 10 overs, but the other side has to have at least 10. That'll become a bit more apparent as we go through. As Mark has said, ideally we'd like people using pink balls and coloured clothing. It may well be that some teams who are associated with Premier League sides may have orange balls rather than pink, but that doesn't matter. If you can't manage either, well, red will do perfectly well. They don't have to be new. But to avoid you having one really manky one for the opposition and one tidy one, the visiting captain gets to see the balls and says, I'll bowl with that one. So you can't give him the horrible one and then take a new one out the box for your team. Bowlers, 4 overs, in other words, 20 balls each. Just to make it a bit different, they can bowl 2 overs in succession. So they can bowl 10 at a time. If the match is reduced in length, then the 4 overs goes down. Again, that's all in the rules. I'll come to that in more detail a bit further on. We've also got a power play. That's the first 25 balls, the first quarter of the innings. If the innings is reduced because of weather issues, then there's a table in the rules which simply cuts it down and says it's 5 overs if it's 18, 19, 20, 4 overs if it's 15, 16, 17, and so on. 2 fielders outside the circle during the power play. The rest of the time, 4 fielders inside the circle, so 5 out if you like. And it's 5 on the leg side throughout. That is a standard sort of provision in most of the ECB short game rules. So you can't just pack the leg side with 8 fielders to keep the slogging down. Free hit for all no balls. If it's a no ball and it's a free hit, you can't change the field, with 3 exceptions, and that's if you've got a change of striker, or because the no ball was because you had too many fielders outside the circle, and close fielders are allowed to move back on the same line to 15 yards, so that if the big free hit slog comes somewhere near them, they've got a bit more time to avoid it. So that's a safety issue, really. Wides. Leg side wide rule, we are keeping that simple. A lot of us hate the leg side wide rule, but it's simply if it's behind the batsman and it's outside leg stump, it's a wide. No subtleties about did he move or didn't he move. Outside the batsman, outside leg stump, it's a wide. We'd like, if possible, the 17-inch lines to be marked on the offside, which they are commonly. You'll find them in the Premier League and a lot of cup tournaments. That's 17 inches in from the return crease. And basically anything which is outside that is a wide. If you haven't got facilities to do that, or somebody's on a park pitch so they're not marked, then umpires need to be strict on offside wides to take account of that. Normal rules, junior fielder safety, the ECB directives. Under 15s have got to be at least 8 yards away from the bat. That's not away from the stumps, it's away from the striker. Under 13s, if you've got any playing, and we hope you won't have, it's 11 yards. And again, this is a strict player safety. Umpires have to intervene and say, oi, hang on a minute, Freddie, you've got to move back 5 paces or whatever it is. Dangerous bowling, unfair bowling. To avoid people bouncing everybody out, it's 1 over shoulder height per over. assuming you play on a pitch which will allow the ball to get that high, which doesn't apply everywhere, of course. The second one in the same over is a no ball, and the bowler gets a first and final warning. All beamers are no balls, that's standard. And if you think it's dangerous because it was somewhere near the striker, then that attracts a warning as well. A second beamer warning or a second too many bounces in the over warning means the bowler's done for the day. I hope we won't get any of that, but it's in there as a backstop for safety reasons, really. Right. As with any game like this, we've got to set a match time in order to do sums if there's a delay. So first things first, in a 20 over game, the first ball, the last over has got to be bowled within 65 minutes of the start. It's normally 70 minutes, 3.5 minutes and over for 20 overs, but of course you've only got 100 balls, not 120. If the innings is reduced, then there's a table in the rules which shows what the timing is for 19, 18, 17, 16 overs and so forth. If the overs don't get bowled within the time, it's a simple sanction. Once you've passed the time, then one more fielder has to be inside the circle. Again, that's a sort of standard ECB sanction in short T20 and 100 type games rather than penalty runs. The umpires are allowed to add a bit for delays if somebody's injured or there's a lot of sight screen moving or there's a lost ball or the ball has to be replaced. Then obviously you adjust your 65 minutes to take account of that. The intention is the next man or woman in should be ready within 60 seconds, not the usual 3 minutes. That means ready, not in and standing there, putting their batting gloves on and so on and so forth. And there is the sanction under Law 41, persistent time wasting. Batsmen can be given a warning, and if they keep wasting time after they've been warned, you can ping them 5 penalty runs, which soon gets them in order. I have to admit, I've never had to do that in a game of cricket in about 12 years of umpiring, so it doesn't happen much. But the important thing is to keep the pressure on. Right, this is the bit which we hope won't arise, but it probably will. Had a situation, in fact, yesterday I was umpiring a T20 and we got to 12 overs of the second innings before the downpour, and that was done and dusted, so we had to do some sums to get a result. So you'll be relieved to know we've done this simply. There's no Duckworth Lewis, nothing complicated, nothing you need a computer for. So the rules work on a time left basis. The scheduled finishing time of every match is 2.5 hours after whatever you decided was the start time. So obviously if you agree to start at 2 o'clock, then it's 4:30. And I'll show you some examples of the various scenarios. And for the purpose of this, Team A is the side batting first and Team B is the side batting second. So if the start's delayed, here's an example, supposed to start at 2 o'clock. So the finishing time, the SFT, is 4:30. There's a delay of 40 minutes before you can start. So that means there's 1 hour and 50 left between 14:40 and 16:30. But you've got to knock off 10 minutes for the interval because nobody's batted yet. So that means there's 100 minutes of playing time left, 1 hour 40. Look in table 3 in the rules, and 100 minutes allows time for 14 overs per side. Table 1 tells you the power play is going to be 3 overs, not 5. And table 2 tells you that it's 47 minutes to start the last over. As I say, it's all in there are 4 tables in the rules. They're very simple, and you can easily refer to them. So that's delayed start. How long left till the scheduled finishing time? Knock off the interval and then use the tables to do the rest of it. And the final point is then the bowler allocation is reduced, and for 14 overs, it will be 3-3-3-3-3-2. Right, interruption the first innings. Match starts on time. After 6 overs and 20 minutes, play is interrupted. You resume at 3:10. So the time left from 3:10 to 4:30 is 1 hour and 20 minutes, less 10 minutes for the interval, 70 minutes. But you've already played 20 minutes. So that means the game length is 90 minutes. Hope that's clear. Look in the table, that's 13 overs a side. Power play in the second innings will be reduced to 3 overs because you've already had the power play in the first innings because you've had 6 overs. And 13 overs is 44 minutes to get it done. So of course you have to take account of the 20 that have already been played. Bowlers for that many overs is 3-3-3-2-2. And in fact, if you've had 6 overs, one bowler could have bowled 4 of those. That means he counts as one of the 3 bowlers, one of the 3 over bowlers. I hope that's clear. Right, the third scenario, delayed start in the second innings. Okay, match starts. Team A get their 20 overs, and this is probably the most likely scenario to cause problems. Team A get their 20 overs and they go off the field at 3:10. There's a bit of a shower, so you can't go back out till 4:25, which means that there's 55 minutes left, but of course no interval because Team A have finished their innings and you've had the break. So again, look in the rules, 55 minutes is 16 overs. The power play is reduced to 4 overs. Table 2 tells you it's in fact 54 minutes allowed to start the last over, and the bowling allocation is going to be 4-3-3-3-3-3. Okay, and then the final example is interrupted second innings. Team A get it done on time. Team B start at 3:15. They get 4 overs in, and then there's a stoppage. You restart after a 25-minute delay at 3:10. So there's 40 minutes left, plus 10 minutes already played, which is 50 minutes. That gives you 14 overs. Power play is reduced to 3 overs. If I go back, see the interruption was after 4 overs. So in effect, the power play is now at an end when you resume. 14 overs, table 2 is 47 minutes. That's the bowling allocation. And off to go. Any questions about any of that delay and interruption stuff before I move on? Or are you suitably boggled? You will get this. I've also created a PDF which Mark will circulate, so you can have a look at this at your leisure by comparison with the rules. So final bit is target. The target for these purposes is a term of art. It's the score required to win the match. And if both sides get 20 or 18 or 16 overs, then Team B have got to get Team A score +1. Sorry, it's a statement of bleeding obvious. If, however, Team B are going to get fewer overs than Team A, then what we're going to use is run rate to set the revised target. So I will show you how that works. So First of all, you need Team A's run rate. So it's runs scored divided by legitimate balls received. So that doesn't include no balls and wides. Bear in mind, if Team A don't use all their overs, then it's runs scored divided by the number of balls they could have received if they weren't all out. So if they've got 20 overs and they were all out in 18, you do the sum by reference to 20 overs. Otherwise, they would have an artificially inflated run rate. So where Team B are going to get fewer overs than Team A, their target is Team A's run rate, which we've just worked out, times the legitimate balls available in Team B's innings, rounded up to the next whole number. And I'll show you that in a moment. And the third scenario is where the game is going merrily on and then it chucks it down after Team B have had 15 overs or something. In those circumstances, the winner is going to be the team with the higher run rate because Team B haven't had a chance to reach the target. So examples of those then. Team A bat for 20 overs and score 117 for 4. This is gloriously simple because it's 100 balls, isn't it? You just move the decimal point 2 points to the left, if you can remember your schoolboy arithmetic. So their run rate is obviously 1.17. So in this example, Team B's innings has been reduced to 16 overs, and don't forget that's 16 times 5, so that's 80 balls. So 80 times 1.17 gives you 93.6, which means usually that if you've got a run rate calculation, you're very unlikely to get a tie. So 93.6 is the target, but it isn't quite. You round it up. So the target is 94. Rounded up to the next whole number, obviously. That means that if Team B only score 93, they've lost because they had to score 93.6 to tie, and of course they can't do that. So, as I say, in run rate, usually you will find you can't have a tie, but I'll explain what happens if the scores are tied in a minute. Okay, everybody happy with that? That's really quite straightforward. Slight tweak then, Team A had 20 overs, but they're all out prematurely for 97, but their run rate is still 97 divided by the 100 balls that they had available to them. Because if you divided it by 16.4, it would inflate this figure. And they can't have a better run rate because they've been all out. So the run rate there is 0.97. Let's say Team B's innings is reduced to 15 overs. So that's 75 times that is 72 3/4. Rounded up, target 73. And as previously, if Team B scores 72, they lose. And if they score 73, they win. I think, again, that's pretty straightforward. Okay, another one, Team A bat for 20 overs and score 123 for 6. So the run rate is 1.23. Isn't this division simple? So Team B are almost up to 16 overs when it chucks it down. So they're 95 for 4. So somebody frantically looks for a calculator unless they've got one on their watch or their phone. So Team B's run rate is 95 divided by 79. If I go back, it's 15.4. That's 75 plus 4, that's 79 balls. Is 1.2. Team A's run rate was 1.23, so Team A win. So that's what happens if Team B get cut off short. You do that sum, and obviously if the arithmetic had worked out the other way around, then Team B would win. Tied match. if they've had equal overs and they both end up at 103, or in unequal overs, the run rates are identical, then we have got some tie-break provisions just in case. So you start off by saying who's lost fewer wickets. Failing that, you look at who's got the higher score after 5 overs, or if it's the same, it's after 6 and after 7 and after 8 and after 9. And we hope that by the time you've gone through the innings like that, you will have found a difference. If you haven't found a difference after all of that, well, we'll have a panic attack. But that should be enough to separate the two sides. Finally, just for entertainment, we can have the strategic timeout. Oh, I'm sorry, strategic timeout. Fielding side gets one, not the batting side. Fielding side, you may have seen this if you watch the IPL. Don't have to take it, but if the other side is running away with it, you might want to stop and take a breather and reform a bit. It can be taken at any time after the power play, so it can't be taken in the first 25 balls. It can be taken in the middle of an over, but not until after the power play is finished. You can't interrupt the power play. And it's 2.5 minutes. So having said it's taken, the umpires then say, right, after 2.5 minutes, play. But it gives you a little time to consolidate the position. Them's the rules, guys. Any questions about any of that? I hope it's as straightforward as we can make it. The problem also, speaking as somebody who drafts rules right, left and center for everybody, you have to cater for all the eventualities. So that introduces a little bit of complication, but we've tried to keep it as straightforward as possible. There are 4 tables in the rules, and I hope that the wording is sufficiently clear that you can make it out if there's a drama. Okay, no questions. I shall shut up.
Thank you very much, Peter. That's very, very detailed, and same again. Really appreciate all of your work that you've done to help us design those rules for us.
Fine. Glad to help.
So I know there might have been a fair bit of information to take in, and I'm sure as cricketers we understand the concept of that. Slightly different figures for the 100 compared to a 2020 match. I'll just show you the website now with regards to where we can go to see all this information. So this is the Cricket Wales website. If you go to play participation under 19s 100 ball cap, that's our page with regards to the groups. I just need to update that just to show the Pembrokeshire group in as well. There's our administration document which you can download, and there's the playing conditions or the rules that that's been designed by Peter and myself, and there's a link direct to the Play Cricket site as well, so I'll just pop on there. This is a national competition site, so all of the competitions in 2021 are listed under all of these groups here, and ours are in this area here. And I'll change those fixtures to represent the Pembrokeshire competition as well over the next couple of days. So that's all those fixtures will go out to everybody's Play Cricket sites as well. And if I just come back to us, once we allocate our winners by July the 23rd or shortly after, we will then create a new tournament. We'll just have the 8 remaining teams, and that will be a national competition, bringing us down to the 2 finalists for August the 13th. As I said, we hope to have some Welsh Fire interest, whether or not that's just marketing and some freebies, or if it's player attendance to that finals day as well. Then we'll publish that information as we find that out as well. So the floor is yours, guys. Any burning questions on any aspect of the competition, not just the rules? sounds like we've covered all.
Clear.
No, I think reduced them to silence is the phrase.
Yeah. Peter, you've done a great job. Listen, my email is available to everybody from the communications that we've sent out. So at any time, you can either email me or phone me. We'll continue the marketing for that, but I'll send out the recording to everybody that's on our mailing list for each club, and then clubs can start looking at setting up their fixtures in advance of June the 25th if they wish, and get the competition started. But it'd be great if you can just communicate on Twitter your results, and back to myself by email if you can, so I can monitor the competition and make sure everything goes smoothly for you. Hopefully you don't need to call me on match days and you can work everything out yourselves, but we'll be around to assist you, and I'll have my calculator ready to assist, so please don't call me. No, honest, we're here to help. So what I'll do now is I'll just stop the recording in a second, but that rounds up the launch of the 100 Ball Cup, and we wish you all the success for this season. So I'm just going to stop the recording now.